Okay, now I want to continue the remaining part, but before I will continue, I'm gonna do a small revision and then I will continue the remaining part. So let's do a small revision. Then I know that if I have an equation of the form ax squared plus bx, I'm so sorry for my handwriting, okay, plus c is equal to 0. So to be able to solve it, if it's not an identity, if I cannot factorize it, I need to use delta. So delta is b squared minus 4ac, okay? And then if delta is positive, I have two real solutions. The solutions are x1 is equal minus b minus radical delta over 2a and minus b plus radical delta over the right like this now. I know it's a revision, so you have it already. And minus b plus or minus radical over 2a. Now, if delta is equal to 0, I say I have a double root and I can write x1 is equal to x2, is equal to minus b over 2a. Why minus b over 2a? Because the radical delta will be 0. Okay, and we said if delta is negative, we will write no real roots. You can write it like this, no RR. Okay, for me, I can understand. So it's no real roots. So this is the general part. Now I know that 1 is a root and 2 is a root. How am I gonna go back to find what was the original equation, the quadratic equation? Okay, so now if the root is given, if I tell you, miss, x is equal 1 is a root, x equal to 3 is a root, okay? What was the quadratic equation? How are you gonna do it? So this is part 2 here when the roots are given and I need to form a quadratic equation. Hana, you know it from last year, but I want a little bit to review it. If x equal to is a root, what does it mean? I have x minus 2 is a factor. Okay? If x equal to 3 is a root, يعني أنا هنا I'm working inversely. Okay? X minus 3 is a factor. And then I will develop it and I will have the quadratic equation. If you develop this one, x2 minus 3x minus 2x plus 6. And then the equation, the quadratic equation is what? It's x squared minus 5x plus 6. It means now, if this one is given, how do you find the roots? I do delta. I use the formula, I will have the roots. But miss, do we have just one equation that has x equal to and x equal to 3? Akid la. We have hundreds of equations. Why? Because I can multiply here by any constant and I will have the same root. If you put here 4 or 2 or minus 1 or 3 or 7, so what does it mean? We'll have the same root. It means that if I said, for example, x equal, let's say x equal 1 and x equal minus 3 are two roots. Give me 3 equations. How are you gonna find those equations? Oh, give me 3 quadratic equations. I need all the time to find a factor of x minus 1 times x plus 3. This is the quadratic equation. So this a, I can have any number. You can put 2, you can put minus 1, you can put 4. It means that I have infinite of a quadratic equation that has solutions 1 and minus 3 and 2 already, you know, from last year. To factorize, if I'm factorizing, for example, any quadratic equation, okay, دايما ال ax squared, and you know it from last year. I think grade 12, they know it very well. Ax squared plus bx plus c. How do we factorize it? If I have the roots, the factorized form is a factor of x minus x1 times x minus x2. Okay, so here if you have any question on this part, you can ask. Okay, a factor of x minus x1 times x minus x2. So here if I have 2, I will have 2 here. If I have 3, I have 3 here. Sometimes I can distribute it. يعني كيف يمس. I will show it to you. For example, I cannot see it. Like this, for example 2 x minus 3 over 2. ما بنشوف هيدي الماينس, I will not see it. For example, like this. Okay? Factor, I'm working inversely, I'm gonna see it. Plus 1. If I develop this to it, you need to be careful. This to is just for the first one or the second one. I will develop it here to remove this fraction. So I will have 2x minus 3. هيكو ما أحلاها. Factor of x plus 1. يعني what was the original? Let's develop it. What is my original? 2x squared, okay, plus 2x, okay, minus 3x. I'm sorry for my handwriting, and I'm sure Juliana is making fun of me now. Minus 3. So what is the quadratic equation? 2x squared minus x minus 3. Now, if I told you to solve this one, what are the roots? You will have the roots in x equal 3 over 2, x equal plus 1. But if I told you then factorize it, write in the factorized form, you cannot write x minus 3 over 2 times x plus 1. No, you need to write 2 factor of x minus 3 over 2 plus times x plus 1, okay? And if I go back now from here till here, that's it. If you do delta here and you solve it, you're gonna have two roots, x equal minus 1 and x equal 3 over 2. If x equal minus 1 is the root, it means x plus 1 is a factor. That's it. I have it here. Okay. If x minus 3 over 2, x equal 3 over 2 is the solution, it means x minus 3 over 2 is a factor. That's it. But I will not forget this 2. And if you write it without the 2 and then you develop, okay, if I hide this 2, okay, and I develop here, I will not have the same expression. It means if I want to factorize this, they want 2 factor of x minus x1 times x plus the x minus x2. Okay.